Tonight's big story, Senator Imee Marcos is calling for a probe into the supposed signature buying for the People's Initiative in support of charter change. Marcos also calls on the upper house to make a stand on Chacha.
Now in the lower house, Makabayan bloc lawmakers are zeroing in on the TV ad promoting Chacha. We'll be talking to a senator or a senior associate rather of the law firm that is reportedly behind that advertisement. And as Indonesian President Joko Widodo concludes his 3-day official visit to the Philippines, the palace says that Widodo has committed to re-examine the case of OFW Mary Jane Veloso, who is still on death row in Jakarta over drug-related cases.
Welcome to the big story. I'm Gretchen Ho.
I'm Dani Laurel.
And I'm Sean Yao.
We begin tonight's show still on the talks of a looming charter change in the country. Now, this was reportedly among the topics discussed by the Senate earlier today amid its alleged push in the House of Representatives through a People's Initiative. But for now, the Senate leadership has not yet released an official statement regarding their position on the matter. But one that did speak up was Senate Majority Leader Joel Villanueva. He said that the senators are united in their stand to protect the Constitution. He emphasized that they will not allow the undermining of fundamental law. Villanueva also said that they are not only defending the rights of the Senate, but also the very rights of the people. He emphasized that he can attest, based on history, that the Senate will never betray the nation.
Senator Imee Marcos is now seeking an investigation regarding reports of payments made to advocate for the People's Initiative for charter change. Ito na nga yung pinag-uusapan natin kagabi kung saan yung mga residente sa isang barangay in Quezon City were reportedly being asked to sign documents in exchange for 3,000 pesos, which they thought was aid from the Quezon City local government. Now, according to Senator Imee Marcos, these moves are unconscionable acts of corruption which are inimical to the very concept of democracy. She emphasized that there is a need to put a stop to these corrupt activities and ensure that any petition for a People's Initiative to amend the Constitution is filed with full consent and free will of the people.
It seems that the Senate is still against charter change. They are still open to hearing public opinion on that matter. News 5 senior correspondent Mean Los Baños has some details on this. Mean, what do you have for us?
Danny, that's right. The Senate leadership continues to consult with experts and stakeholders regarding charter change. One of those consulted is former Senator Ping Lacson. I got to speak with a former senator about the matter, and he said that he advised the current senators when he was approached by Senate Majority Leader Joel Villanueva. He stated that the Senate is under attack and it is dangerous for the upper chamber to lose its significance or role. Thus, according to Lacson, senators need to be ready to file a petition with the Comelec up to the Supreme Court to challenge the constitutionality and validity of amending the Constitution using People's Initiative. Danny, despite the House leaders' call for senators to reconsider charter change, it seems like the upper chamber is not changing its stance on the matter just yet.
Thank you for that, Mean Los Baños.
Now, the agencies that were being dragged into the supposed signature campaigns are now denying their involvement in the push for charter change. So just a quick recap from our previous report, Senator Imee Marcos filed a resolution for the upper house to investigate such campaigns, and part of that is looking into the supposed 20 million peso offer for districts that can gather enough signatures for the Chacha push. Citing reports, the senator claims this amount is being funneled through assistance programs of the Health, Labor, and Social Welfare departments. However, Labor Secretary Benny Laguesma has denied this and expressed his dismay that the DOLE is being dragged into the issue. In an interview with Radyo 5's Ted Filon and DJ Chacha, the Labor Secretary says they have not actually received any complaints of aid being distributed in exchange for signatures.
Nakakalungkot po at very unfortunate na may ganyang klaseng aligasyon. Kasi simula pa lamang ng taon, hindi pa nga po tayo nakakapagsimula dito po sa implementasyon ng programa. Mayroon na po kagad lumutang na ganito.
The DSWD likewise distanced itself from the issue despite the agency's AICS program being mentioned in one of the videos taken from the alleged signature drive in Quezon City. Let's listen to that first.
Para saan po yung signature campaign? Para po sa pag-amyenda o sa pagbabago ng 1987 Constitution. Meron pong pakinsuelo sa atin ang mahal na congressman. Bibigyan po tayo ng AICS. O, di ba?
The AICS, or the Assistance to Individuals in Crisis Situation program, is just one of the programs allegedly being used for the Cha-Cha push. But Assistant Social Welfare Secretary Romel Lopez says this program is not involved in any kind of, quote, signature buying. He adds that they also have nothing to do with the circulating video taken in Quezon City.
Ang inyo pong DSWD hindi po magagamit kailanman sa anuman pong political agenda. For the longest time may political naman po yan. We hope and we pray that the DSWD will be spared from politics. We let the politicians talk about politics.
Now, as for the Department of Health, they clarified that support for charter change is not a requirement to receive medical assistance. They say they only take into consideration the health assessment of licensed social workers or hospitals.
Now, apart from the Labor, Health, and Social Welfare departments, the Department of Interior and Local Government is also denying that their agency is being used for the charter change push. Brian Basa gives us more details on that. Brian, what do you have for us?
Hi, Gretchen. Interior Secretary Benhar Abalos is also belying reports that the agency is involved in any form of signature buying.
Let us see, but as far as the LG is concerned, as far as we are concerned, yung mga empleyado namin, we are prohibited from doing it. We could probably only see and monitor that this is a valid exercise of each individual's right.
We also asked the Commission on Elections whether signatures gathered from these campaigns will be considered valid for purposes of charter change. Here's what they said.
Ay technically po, siyempre kapag ka naman yung iyong pirma sa isang lehitimo na proseso ay mayroong ganyang klase ng pamimili. Siyempre po hindi dapat tanggapin yung mga pirma na ganyan sapagkat ibig sabihin hindi po kusa yung pagpirma ng mga botante. Dapat talaga ang People's Initiative ay bukal sa kalooban ng mismong nagpo-propose.
Now, aside from the proposed investigation on vote buying, Senator Imee Marcos has also filed a resolution to look into the effectiveness of the Initiative and Referendum Act. This law is being used as basis for the signature drive. Senator Marcos says the law needs to be examined to, quote, ensure that there is a realistic avenue for people to propose amendments to the Constitution. Back to you.
That is the side of the Comelec and the DILG. Thanks for bringing that to us, Brian Basa.
And pausing for a quick break. Right after that, we will keep the ball rolling on Cha-Cha. And this time, we will talk about the recent TV ad promoting this initiative, as well as the push for a probe into that over at the lower house. All that when we return. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. House minority lawmakers are now looking to investigate the recent political ad promoting charter change. Makabayan Bloc representatives said there is a need to scrutinize whether public money had been used to fund the advertisement that was aired on primetime TV this Tuesday. The pro-Chacha ad made use of the term EDSA-pwera and highlighted supposed failures of the 1987 Constitution. The video is being traced to Gana Atienza Avisado law offices, the firm that reportedly paid for the ad.
Joining us tonight, we have Attorney Mary Basilia, is a Senior Associate for Gana Atienza Avisado law offices. Good evening, Attorney.
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, let's just go right to it. Now, we understand you represent the group PIRMA, which, of course, we've heard has been involved in this initiative. Can you confirm that this initiative to launch the ad comes from this group? And can you give us more color on who is part of this group? Who are the constituents of this group?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. Yes, we confirm that the initiative or this public information campaign comes from PIRMA, People's Initiative for Reform, Modernization and Action, led by our lead convener, Noel Oñate. This public information drive or the advertisement is meant to spark or to raise public awareness and invite public discussion on people's initiative to amend the Constitution if we are ready and if pwede na hubang pag-usapan and if pwede na, ano ho ba ang gusto ng mga tao na i-propose, if ever, to amend the Constitution?
Attorney, you mentioned Noel Oñate. Are there any people part of PIRMA that are currently in power?
No, ma'am. PIRMA is a private institution. So no one in power or no one from the government is involved in our group.
So just to, to be black and white about it, Attorney Basilia, PIRMA has nothing to do with this ongoing, supposed, alleged signature campaigns in different LGUs.
Yes, ma'am. We confirm that we have nothing to do or we are not involved with the ongoing campaign or signature drive that has been ongoing right now.
Okay, so
right
let's
now,
talk about
the group
right.
or the initiative of the group is just on the initiatory stage. We are just consulting with the public as to what they want to propose to amend the Constitution.
Okay, so gaano katagal yung pinaghandaan itong ad? We all know that it does take some time to produce an ad like that. And I guess parang pina-focus group nyo rin. Can you tell us about the background of the production of this advertisement?
Again, for the advertisement, this is created by the team, and we just want to raise public awareness or to invite public discourse para pag-usapan if ever, kung ready na ho ba tayong i-amend ang Constitution and through People's Initiative. As to the preparation, this group has been, the preparation has been ongoing for quite a while now, and hindi naman ho ito naging biglaan or overnight advertisement.
Wait, Attorney Basilia, anong agency ang nakapartner ng inyong law firm, pati ng inyong grupo to make this ad? It seems very well done, very well produced.
As to the agency, it's our client to engage the services of the creative team. So we are not privy to the agency.
Okay, but would you know, Attorney, kung pumasa ito sa ASC or yung Ad Standards Council? Kasi, of course, lahat ng ads, kailangan dumaan doon. Would you have any idea? Or yung agency na rin yung nag-handle nung side na yon?
I think it's the agency, but I'm pretty confident that this has been scrutinized din naman by the team and by the group, and we ensure that it's compliant with the standards.
Okay. Attorney, gaano katagal? How many weeks will this ad go? Will it, span the whole, I guess, push for charter change? Is it a one-off? And how many channels can we see this ad in?
This is an information campaign drive, so as much as possible, we want to sustain the advocacy or the talks. So as to the timeline, as much as possible, we want this to be ongoing, just enough for us to talk to people and for the people to be informed of our advocacy.
Mga ilang buwan ba yan?
As to the timeline, I cannot say, pero hopefully, in a short span of time, the people would engage with us. And
So ibig
but-
sabihin po bukod dito sa ad, you also have conversations on ground. Is this paired with an on-ground movement by your group to have those active conversations done?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Since this is an information campaign drive, we do not end with the posting of the advertisement. Also, syempre, we have to talk to the people, to go to the grassroots and let the people know and engage in conversations with people. So definitely, the advertisement is just the first step, and we are talking. There are ongoing talks with the people right now.
All right, but attorney, let's just do a little bit of digging through history. Nung Ramos administration, dun unang lumabas ang pirma. Of course, same advocacy, reforms, charter change. What made them decide? Would you know? Are you privy to what went on behind the decision-making process na now is the right time to start the conversation, to spark that conversation again? Why now?
Why now? Why not? If not now, when? It's been 37 years since we enacted our 1987 Constitution. We have to keep up with the changing times. And to do that, maybe there are some things that needed to be changed. And that's why we want people to be engaged into discussion kung ano yung gusto nilang mangyari, kung ano yung mga problemang kinakaharap nila, and kung ano yung nakikita nilang solusyon or proposals for reform. And that's why PIRMA is here.
The name of the advocacy is PIRMA, which necessitates somebody needs to sign a signature, which sounds, let's say, quite similar to a people's initiative where people are asking for signatures. Does this have any resemblance to that? Has that been something that PIRMA as a group has been advocating for people na pumirma na merong initiative on the ground, grassroots, as you mentioned?
As of right now, of course, we want to engage people and talk to them if they are ready for a people's initiative. People's initiative naman has been recognized by our Constitution as a mode of amending our Constitution. It's a way of giving back or giving the people the right to speak their mind and propose amendments to our Constitution.
Yeah, actually, attorney, I want to clarify, like you said, this is supposed to open the conversation, to get the ball rolling, and to find out kung ano ba talaga yung gustong baguhin ng mga tao sa saligang batas natin. But the content of the ad, if you watch it, last night, I believe it was Gretchen who very nicely distilled for us, may 3 points yung ad. So, medyo magulo lang for me right now, kung are we getting the ball rolling on a conversation and inviting suggestions and opinions? Or, kung ganun nga, bakit meron ng 3 points yung ad? Certain specific points, agriculture, foreign investments, and so on, education.
We are definitely getting the ball rolling right now. But as to the advertisement, syempre hindi naman namin nililimitahan lang yung mga tao kung ano yung mga puntos na sa tingin nyo nakikita nyo doon sa advertisement. Again, this is a public discussion. We want the people to be engaged, to be with us, to talk to us, and to voice out din. Hindi naman porket yun yung nakalagay sa advertisement, yun na lang ang pag-uusapan natin. The people are free to decide and to give us what they want.
Attorney, People's Initiative ito. Ibig sabihin kasama kaming tatlo. Di ba? Kami naiintindihan namin yung konstitusyon. Kahit pa paano kasi nagbabasa kami. Pero hindi lahat makakaintindi because it's very legal, it's very technical. How do you plan to conduct the information campaign? And also, will consultations be done? At gaano po kalawak itong information campaign? Is it going to run all over the Philippines? How will it be done? Paano natin mapapaintindi sa ordinaryong Pilipino na ito, yung petisyon, this is what we want to amend?
First of all, wala pa naman ho kaming petisyon and wala pa naman ho kaming specific provisions na gustong ipropose sa tao. Hinahayaan ho namin yung tao na mag-decide kung ano yung gusto nilang baguhin sa ating saligang batas. As to the consultation, definitely there would be consultations. Again, we are not expert. We are just lawyers as far as we are concerned. We are just experts. We are not experts on other sectors or other sectors in the government. So we want to engage also those who are expert in their fields to talk to us, and also engage yung mga ordinaryong mamamayan, reconcile kung ano yung masasabi ng expert and ng mga ordinaryong mamamayan, and to come up with kung ano ho ba yung pressing issues right now and kung ano yung gusto nilang
Pero sabi
baguhin
niyo po,
or
information
i-propose.
information campaign ito. Ano pong information yung ipakakalat po natin at ibibigay natin sa mga Pilipino?
Right now ho, since this is an information campaign, we want the people to know that they have the right to propose an amendment in the Constitution. And after that, we will ask them, ano ho ba ang gusto ninyong mangyari or kung ano ho ba ang gusto ninyong baguhin sa ating saligang batas base sa kung anong nakikita nilang problema and kung ano yung nakikita nilang solusyon.
Attorney, abogado po kayo, no? We just have to run by this real quick. Balikan natin yung Ad Standards Council. Meron silang code of ethics, meron silang mga provisions, no, na dapat ma-take off bago mag-run ng ads. Isa na doon, no? Advertisements must not be injurious to the image and prestige of the Philippines and its people. Advertisements should not undermine the public's regard for government law and duly constituted authority. And advertisements shall not contain messages that deride or otherwise discredit the law and its enforcement. Before po ni-release itong ad, did you guys look over it to see, no, since abogado naman kayo, law firm kayo, kung meron nga bang na-violate itong advertisement ninyo?
Yes, we definitely looked into it, ma'am. And as far as we are concerned, wala naman ho kaming ina-undermine or never namin in-undermine ang Pilipinas or kung sino man. In fact, we recognize yung mga tao behind the 1987 Constitution. We recognize kung ano yung naging contribution nila sa atin. Ang amin lang ho, maybe it's about time that there is a change. Maybe we should keep up with the changing times. Yun lamang ho ang sa amin.
Can you clarify what the ad means or connotates with the term EDSA-pwera?
As to that advertisement, again, we just want to raise, to invite public discussion. Yun naman ho ay naging creative concept lang ng aming team to invite a dynamic public discussion.
Although attorney, of course, syempre, may maaapakan talaga. At meron din, no? And for one, nagsalita na nga, no, si Albay Representative EDSA Lagman, siya rin, of course, ang head ng Liberal Party ngayon. He did flag this information happening on the ground. We have a soundbite. We'll play that first, and then we'll get your reaction to that after.
Ang balita doon sa isang munisipyo sa Albay ay tapos na yung pagpirma ng petisyon. At hindi ko maintindihan kung alam ng tao kung ano ang pinirma nila o alam ng nagpapapirma kung ano ang pinapapirma nila. Sapagkat isa sa mga alkalde nagsabi na siya ay isang ayon sa People's Initiative sapagkat ma-extend yung sa kanyang term as alkalde. So in other words, merong disinformation agad na nangyari doon sa baba.
Right, so would you say, Attorney Basilia, na premature nga itong ad?
No, ma'am. It's not premature. First of all, I would like to address yung sinabi niyo ho kanina. It's never our intention na mang-apak ng kahit sino. As to the statement of Congressman, hindi ho kami involved doon sa ongoing signature campaign. We would want to put it on record na hindi kami ang nagpapakalap ngayon ng signature campaign. So we cannot confirm or deny. We are not in the position to tell you or to give comments on the issues na nasasabi ni Congressman ngayon.
Attorney, back during the time of President Fidel Ramos, PIRMA was there and they were pushing for a people's initiative for the petition for a parliamentary type of government and lifting of term limits. Back then, the Supreme Court shut down the initiative. saying that the petition was defective. Inaral niyo po ba yan? Kasi sabi nun, amendments and not revisions could be made. So this time, what do you think would be the more effective way to push for a people's initiative that would pass the Supreme Court in terms of legality?
Of course, we learned from our mistakes in the past. Yun naman ho ang sa amin. Since may guiding principle na ho kami kung anong what went wrong before, syempre hindi na ho namin uulitin ngayon. As to the mode of amending the Constitution, yes, people's initiative ho ang nakikita namin, and we want not naman to revise the Constitution but to amend certain provisions, and yung provisions naman na yun ay manggagaling ho ultimately sa tao.
What are you gonna do differently this time around?
Ano po pagkakaiba nun?
Oo. Ano po yung magbabago? Are
What
you
can we
privy?
expect?
Yung saan kayo nagkamali noon at ano na yung forma ngayon? Pa-explain lang sa amin kasi hindi namin masyadong maintindihan yung legal aspect to it, I guess.
During the 1997 attempt ho, hindi ho pinalad yung grupo namin na i-amend yung Constitution. One of the reason is dahil sinabi ng Korte Suprema na hindi daw alam ng mga tao kung ano yung pinipirmahan nila, kung ano yung pinopropose na amendment doon sa Constitution. Right now, it's too early for us to syempre we want the people to be informed. We want them to be, kasi sa kanila din naman manggagaling yung proposal for amendment. So definitely we will ensure that people are informed kung ano man ang pipirmahan nila. But right now, ma'am, with all due respect, wala pa ho kami sa stage na yon. Nasa consultation stage pa lang ho kami with the people. And tinatanong pa lang ho namin kung ano ang gusto nilang proposal for amendment.
Are you looking to join forces po with some politicians or LGUs who have been very vocal na sang-ayon po sila sa charter change?
As to, again, this is a private initiative. Right now, kung sino ang involved sa amin ay from the private sector. Ngayon wala ho kaming natatanggap or wala ho kaming naririnig na may gustong sumama sa amin na politicians. So I cannot speak din naman to shut them down or kasi wala pa naman akong ganong statements or
Baka pwede rin po
offers.
kami mag-suggest dyan, maisama sa agenda ninyo yung anti-political dynasty. Baka that could be a good amendment to the Constitution if we're able to put that in there, right?
Definitely ho, any ideas are welcome naman. Again, we just want to hear the people, let their voices be heard.
All right. Well, maraming salamat po for joining us, and we hope to hear from you again on all your plans for PIRMA. Attorney Jo Marie Basilia, Gana Atienza Avisado Law Office's Senior Associate.
Hindi pa doon nagtatapos ang usapan. We'll be keeping the discussion going. We now have with us House Deputy Minority Leader and ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro joining us tonight to talk more about this push for Chacha as well as that advertisement. Hi, Kong. Good evening.
Hi, hello. Good evening. Gretchen, Sean, and Danny.
Yes. Kong Franz, narinig nyo naman siguro itong medyo mahaba naming usapan with Attorney Basilia from Gana Atienza Avisado Law Offices. Your reaction po, of course, in the context na supposedly nagpapatawag nga kayo ng investigasyon dito sa advertisement na ito.
In the first place siguro itong advertisement na to, rights naman siguro ng any individual or group na bumili ng advertisement, magbayad ng advertisement sa kahit na saang mga saang mga fora. So ang in reaction lang namin dito yung tungkol doon sa content. So yung content ng ads. So anyway, freedom of expression naman 'yon. Pero ako as a teacher, nakikita natin na merong mali o merong misinformation doon.
Ano po yung
Kaya
specific?
talagang hindi naman kami doon sa
not the ad per se, but
Yes.
yung nilalaman ng ad, ano po doon sa punto, doon sa ad,
Yeah.
na you
Yo.
guys are, kumbaga, ay cringing
Yeah,
about?
hindi naman yung ad, no? Kasi freedom of expression yun. Well, as a teacher, no, sa tingin natin, for example, yung EDSA-pwera, and then nakalagay doon foreign ownership. So, nag-i-imply sa atin na gusto natin ng 100% na foreign ownership, may mga global foreign ownership pa doon, at idinamay pa din yung education at yung agricultural reform. Well, in terms of education, hindi naman sagot yung pagbabago ng constitution, no, para maging maunlad yung ating, in fact, ilan ng beses na pinabago-bago ang constitution. So, ganito pa rin, nagkakaroon tayo ng education crisis, learning crisis, kaya hindi sagot yung pagbabago ng constitution. In terms of agricultural reforms, anytime naman pwedeng magkaroon ng, without revising the constitution or amending the constitution, may mga laws naman tayo na talagang pwedeng gawin para magkaroon ng agricultural reforms na tingin lang natin mali lang yung ginagawa sa ngayon, ano, hindi kami para sa makabayan ay hindi akma para sa ating mga farmers yung mga ginagawang mga laws sa ngayon, kaya hindi talaga mabago-bago yung yung kalagayan ng ating mga farmers. So yun lang naman yung kaya lang. Tapos another thing, EDSA-pwera, ginamit itong EDSA as a term na alam naman natin in our history, no, merong meron tong political historical at significance ay yung EDSA uprising. Kaya parang masakit sa tenga ko yung parang EDSA-pwera. So may mga pinwera ba? So ibig sabihin, siyempre pinwera natin dito yung mga diktador. Diba? Doon sa EDSA uprising, pinwera natin yung mga magnanakaw sa mga panahon na yun. So opinion ko lang yan, ano? So yun yung nagiging take ko doon sa advertisement. Kung ako ay mag-iisip na mamamayan, ano, kasi i-engage daw yung ating mga kababayan. So kung ako ay nag-iisip at alam ko ang history, alam ko yung mga pabago-bagong constitution, so magkakaroon din ng ibang impression.
Let's talk about the signature campaign on the ground. We actually have a copy of the petition form that is being circled around. It said it wants to provide for joint voting of the Congress and the Senate. Quote-unquote, Congress voting jointly at the call of the Senate President or the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Ito po ba talaga ang gustong i-revise nila? At napag-uusapan pa rin po ba yung economic provisions?
Well, hindi natin alam saan nanggagaling yan, ano, kung sa tao ba yan talaga nanggagaling o sa mga politiko. Actually, hindi makapasa-pasa nga, no, itong halimbawa itong RBH Congress in the House last March 2023. Meron tayong yung House bill na pinasa 7352, but it was junked by the Senate. Kaya siguro ang initiative, siguro di natin alam, maraming maharahil sa mga politiko din dahil hindi makapasa-pasa yung mga amendments sa Constitution or CHATCHA or Charter Change. Bumaling sila sa People's Initiative. Kaya pinili yung joint kasi siyempre 24 lang yung Senate and we are 300 plus na congressman, so ma-overwhelmed, ma-overruled yung Senado just in case na magkaroon ng amendments on joint voting.
Lagi kami nagtataka dito, no, sa aming sofa, kung ano ba ang nagyayari ngayon sa loob ng House of Representatives. Nung Monday, ang nakausap lang po namin is si Congressman Ed Lagman. Ang sabi niya kasi, wala pa rin naman daw nagyayari sa Viber group. Nung time na yon, no, naka-break pa din for the holidays ang Congress. At this point, it's already Thursday. It has been 3.5 days since then. Meron na po bang napag-uusapan ang Congress? Is there an official stance, kung baga, from the leadership of the House? Kung ano ba talaga yung mga nagyayari? Kasi damay-damay na to, pati yung mga ahensya, DOLE, DOH. Nadadamay na rin po.
Well, actually, wala kaming naririnig dun sa leadership ng Congress. In fact, the last 2 days, ang pinag-usapan yung tungkol sa resolution on PUP modernization and of course, itong tungkol doon sa panay brownout So tahimik ang leadership. Siguro wala pa rin pong narinig.
But
Siguro it is a fact na naging may mga pronouncement si President Marcos, may mga pronouncement din si Speaker tungkol din sa charter change.
But Rep, just in principle, no, regardless kung sino ang nagpasimuno or whether it comes from Congress, sang-ayon po ba kayo, generally speaking, for a people's initiative, the fact that people can sign something, the fact that they can push for charter change, is this something that you're open to?
Yes, anyway, constitutional naman yan, yung People's Initiative. So, dapat magawa lang sa tamang pamamaraan. So, hindi yung nakikita namin ngayon na merong mga bayaran daw at merong itong mga paggamit ng mga programs ng ating gobyerno na ipinapangako ng mga ayuda para lang pumirma doon sa People's Initiative. So, okay naman siguro yan kung maayos yung proseso. So isa yung pamamaraan kasi kapag hindi umubra sa legislature. So ito yon, tama itong People's Initiative, pero in a right way, hindi itong deception, hindi itong paggamit ng programa sa mga vulnerable sector ng ating society.
Okay, kung nagtataka lang kami no kung plano ba or may balak ba ang Makabayan Bloc na imbestigahan itong umiikot na mga signature campaigns, lumalabas na no mula sa iba't ibang mga probinsya at ibang lalawigan syempre na meron nga daw umiikot doon. And kanina, I'm not sure kung napakinggan nyo, pero may video kaming pinlay, umiikot po ito galing sa Quezon City na sinabi po nung tao na doon sa video ay I am going to quote, sabi po ni Congressman, mabibigyan daw po sila. So, bakit po kaya nadadawit no ang Congress dito kung wala pa naman palang usapan ukol sa Chacha at busy pa kayo sa PUV modernization at the moment? Hello, Kong?
Looks like we have some
might have
technical
lost
difficulties or a lag. But it is clear mukhang tahimik pa at hindi pa if the on-ground campaign is already rolling dito, medyo wala pa.
Tahimik pa yung
Tahimik pa.
Outside of their
We've so far heard from two congressmen who have both said na busy pa ang Congress with other matters, specifically PUV modernization.
So, ayaw nila
However, kasi Senator Imee Marcos yung nagsabi nga. She was alluding no na there's a congressman, she alleged that some congressmen might be involved in this. Do we have Congresswoman? Kong France, are you there?
Oo, sige. Sorry.
Ay, sorry, narinig mo ba yung question ko?
Yes, oo. As I was saying, yung sa amin nakuha...
Yung sa QC po.
Yes. Oo. Meron kaming nakuhang mga forms sa Barangay Silanga, Barangay Pinyahan, Barangay Kalusugan dito sa Quezon City. Pero yung video, kailangan pa natin ibalik nakakuha ng video on tape na.
Okay, so you're still looking into that naman.
Rep, yung alleged 20 million pesos for the Chacha push
Yes,
that are being funneled via assistance programs. Any intel on that, or have you heard this story from your end?
Hello.
Looks like we continue to
right.
have those technical difficulties.
Sana
But
malaman natin
hopefully,
yung sagot
we
doon.
could hear more from our House of Representatives in the coming days. Again, pasimula pa lang ito. I guess our congressmen and women are figuring it out.
Yep.
We have
Trying
more
to get more
details.
clarity
And
and more direction.
I'd love to get more clarity also from Congresswoman Franz about the proper way, the right way of doing a people's initiative. Sabi niya, bukas naman siya.
Because per se, it's not a bad
As long
thing.
as it is
Yeah.
done right, meaning galing sa tao yung ipopropose
And
na
I'm
petisyon.
assuming when she says it's supposed to be done right, I suppose dapat walang bayaran no in exchange for signatures na nagyayari or masking it in terms of yun nga yung iba't ibang mga subsidies that are being handed out to PAD, AICS and whatnot. Alright,
At yung mga signatures, dapat yung legitimacy niya is verified. Kasi yung iba
And that's
sinasabi,
really part
pwedeng
of it, Gretch.
pwedeng
Part of
bawiin
Comelec,
daw eh.
diba?
Pwedeng bawiin. Oo.
Comelec has to verify all those signatures.
that
That's why they're
budget.
saying this will be very, very tedious. And it looks like the three of us, well, we're in this for the long haul. At we will continue to watch this issue for everybody because we are part of the People's Initiative.
Yeah, I do wonder if we'll ever get the chance to see those forms.
Let's see.
Or sign anyway.
We will be able to
Because
see
we
it.
are part of the people, di ba?
Right. And we are from different, of course, different
Totoo
cities,
naman,
different
totoo
LGUs.
Siyempre, binibigay
We're
nila
gonna be pausing for a quick break. Right after that, this is not good. Baguio City has declared an outbreak of gastroenteritis. What is causing the upsurge in infections? We'll find out after the break. Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Story here on One News.
Now, it's not just the senators. House lawmakers are also keen on revisiting the franchise of the National Grid Corporation following the massive blackout that hit Panay Island last week. The House Committee on Energy led today's hearing with representatives from affected regions like Iloilo and Negros expressing their dismay over the persistent power problem. The NGCP continues to take the hit for the Western Visayas power outage, although the agency claims that it has no control over problems on the power generation side. Representatives now want a definite solution to the matter by the end of the committee hearings.
I can't believe that for a period of almost a year, wala tayong resolution from the government agencies that are supposed to oversee the energy industry, especially Iloilo, na pangalawang beses na nangyari ito. We want to see in the final committee report that someone will be held accountable.
Now, speaking of accountability, let's get updates on the side of NGCP. We have Marian Enriquez for that. Maan, what do you have?
Gretch, the NGCP insists that taking away their mandate as system operator would do more harm than good. But nevertheless, they will comply should the government decide to push through with this plan.
So nung yan ay sinubasta ng gobyerno, sila ang nagsabi na kabuuan ng transmission service provider ang both SO, PNE, and ONM. Kung babaguhin nila yan, nasa sa kanila yan, pero yun na nga, siguro magiging reputasyon lang natin, baka masyadong malaki ang risk na papasok ko sa isang kontrata at hindi pa tapos yan, babaguhin na kaagad. But again, we submit to the government and their wisdom, pero we only ask na yung data and their accomplishments be recognized.
The Department of Energy has since refuted claims that separating NGCP's mandate as system operator would be risky Energy Undersecretary Sharon Green has been quoted as saying that most countries separate the system operator function from transmission duties. If anything, the NGCP said they are welcome to a review of the Philippine Grid Code.
We welcome that. Kasi ang Philippine Grid Code, yan ang aming Biblia, kumbaga. Yung IRR na yan, welcome namin, antayin namin yan kasi magkakaroon ng mas malinaw na guidance ang NGCP sa tamang pagpapatakbo ng system operations o ng transmission system.
Meanwhile, if you ask the Energy Regulatory Commission or the ERC, there had been lapses from NGCP to report on a significant power loss in Panay. The ERC maintained that under the grid code, the NGCP as a system operator is responsible for load generation balance as well as for timely response and contingency plans in case of incidents like the New Year power outage in Western Visayas. Reg.
All right, thanks for that, Marian Enriquez. Now, another story we were talking about last night, Indonesian President Joko Widodo has assured President Bongbong Marcos that they will re-examine the case of Mary Jane Veloso, who is on death row in Indonesia over drug-related charges. Presidential Communications Office Secretary Sheloy Garafil said Widodo made the commitment during his meeting with Marcos at Malacanang on Wednesday. In their bilateral talks, Marcos conveyed that the legal inquiries needed from the Philippine Regional Trial Court regarding Veloso's case have already been dispatched to Jakarta for her response. The Foreign Affairs Department, meanwhile, said it will continue working with the Justice Department on the case filed by Ms. Veloso against her perpetrators. This is good news.
It is good news. First time, okay? It is the best news since there was a stay on her execution.
Nagbago yung tono.
Oo, never sila nag-commit to anything similar, although our foreign affairs officials have not actually commented yet. Officially. Kumbaga, sa kung anong napag-usapan exactly and the wording, etc.
Mukhang matatapos na daw yung presidential term ni Joko Widodo October 2024. Oo.
Next month is the elections.
Oo, yun. So I guess, I'm not sure how that plays into these decisions, but we'll take what we can get.
We'll take what we can get.
At least clemency is on the table for the Veloso family.
Alright, ito na nga, no, yung pinag-uusapan natin na medyo heads up, lalo na sa daddy ko kung nanonood ka right now. And to all those na nagpuntang Baguio during the holidays. Because the Baguio City government has declared an outbreak of gastroenteritis. Among those affected by the disease was Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong himself. Magalong is among the over 2,000 residents affected by acute gastroenteritis. More than 300 of them are children. Now, most of those who experienced stomach inflammation are those who ate outside, including tourists. And that is why more than 200 restaurants were subjected to water sampling and examined. One of the restaurants tested positive for fecal contamination. On the other hand, Baguio Water District's water tested negative for any bacteria. The Sanitary Bacteriology Laboratory of the City Health Office admits they are having difficulties due to the volume of water samples that they are analyzing.
We hope to narrow it down kasi ang dami nga namang water sources, tap water, raw water, purified water, etc. So we need to narrow down all these samples para naman hindi po overwhelming din po ang laboratory namin.
The health department, however, is hesitant to label the outbreak in Baguio as acute gastroenteritis until the results of the water analysis for the other samples come out. The Center for Health Development in Cordillera, meanwhile, has already sent its personnel to the city with the goal of determining the cause of the illnesses.
Sino ba ang salarin? Dahil depende kung sinong salarin ay iibahin natin ang ating lunas, ang ating solusyon. Kung ito ay isang mikrobyo, baka antibiotic ang kailangan. Kung ito ay isang problema sa komposisyon ng pagkain o ng tubig, meron ring ibang mga pamamaraan para maayos ito.
Okay, may plano pa naman kami mag-Baguio next weekend.
Dala ka na lang ng ano.
Oo, ingat-ingat na lang.
Huwag
na lang uminom siguro.
na nila yung tubig.
Okay, some good news naman for our big picture before we say goodbye. This good news specifically is for Caviteños because the first phase of the LRT1 extension is inching closer and closer to launch day.
What you're seeing are new train sets out on a test run to check its compatibility with the tracks, its braking performance, speed and acceleration, etc. Phase 1 of the LRT-1 Cavite extension is expected to be completed by the fourth quarter of this year.
Hindi ba ito yung kinoconstruct din sa may Manila International Airport? I think it's part of it also.
Yeah, siguro may stop, no? Coming from the
may
south.
stop doon.
naman yung...
Ay, sana matapos na kasi ang tagal-tagal na ng traffic
Fourth
doon sa
quarter
area na yun.
Mental note natin yan. Babalikan natin by the fourth quarter kung talagang natapos. But for this Thursday night, that's it for the big story.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in and have a good night.